This may be uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. Some of the hardest working men I know are also the most underpaid. Not because they aren't capable, not because they don't care, and not because they don't sacrifice, but it's because hard work alone is not what determines compensation. And if you've ever felt overlooked, capped, or quietly frustrated without having the words for it, then this video is for you. If you've ever thought, I do more than everyone else, I carry more responsibility, I'm always the one who has to step up, and then immediately you shut that thought down because it felt ungrateful, I can tell you, you're not entitled. You're becoming aware. And awareness is where things start to change. I want to start off and I want to be clear about what this isn't. All right? This isn't about complaining. It's not about demanding more. It's not about your ego, whether it's big or little. But this is about alignment. Because when the value that you bring and the compensation you receive, when it stays misaligned for too long, something unhealthy starts to grow on the inside. And most men, they actually don't talk about this, but they carry it. And I'm sure you felt this tension before, and you probably felt it for a while. You still may be feeling it, but it's because you don't understand it and you honestly can't name it. So I actually want you to give me 15 minutes on today, and I want you to keep watching because we're gonna actually put language to this on today. All right, most men, most hardworking men, they were taught a simple idea. If I work hard enough, someone's gonna notice it, right? So they do things like they're the first person on the job. They stay late. They take on all these extra responsibilities. They fix problems, but they fix them quietly. They protect the team. And they carry this weight that isn't even theirs. And then they assume my loyalty is going to be rewarded. But I can tell you that's far from the truth, right? Here's the hard truth. Organizations, they don't reward your loyalty. They don't operate the same way that your family does. They reward impact. Effort is expected, but impact, that's what is compensated. All right, hard work, everybody's a hard work. Hard work just keeps you employed, but value actually moves you forward. And when men confuse these two, they stay stuck longer than they should. And you know, the next reason why a lot of good men get stuck is because they operate with this philosophy, and this philosophy kind of keeps them stagnated for a long time. That philosophy is that loyalty is a good thing and integrity matters. And it does. But loyalty without leverage, it often just leads to stagnation. I've seen this unspoken trade that many men make. I'll give more time now, and I'll give more energy now than what I'm paid for now. Because eventually, it's going to come back. But does it? Sometimes it may. You know, you get your 3.5% increase. But often it doesn't. But is what you're doing worth a 3.5% increase? So when it doesn't come back the way that you want it, most men, they don't adjust the strategy. They internalize the frustration and they get mad. And they expect others to know what's wrong. And when others don't know what's wrong with them, their loyalty, it quickly turns into resentment. And it's not because this man is weak. It's not. But it's because he stays silent for too long. You know, this next area matters, and most men miss it on their first time, and then they constantly repeatedly miss it. Effort, it usually happens in silence. And most hardworking men assume they see what I do. A lot of times, they don't. And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm not trying to be mean, but the people that make the decisions, they got more to worry about than just you and what you're doing. And I want you to hear me clearly. Visibility is not arrogance. It's translation. If your boss or your leadership can't clearly explain what you solved, what you prevented, or what you improved, they can't justify paying you more money. I'm saying a lot of uncomfortable things, and I'm gonna say something else that may be uncomfortable. The man who explains the value, they often advance faster than the man who quietly actually carries it. And it's not because he's better, but he's just understood. I actually want to slow down a little bit. So let me slow down because, this is core and this is going to be uncomfortable. It isn't comfortable at all, but it's necessary for you to hear it. If you don't believe your work is worth more, you're never going to position it for its true value. Your self-worth, it shapes things like what you tolerate, what you accept, what you negotiate, and what you expect. Compensation, it usually follows expectations. I'll tell you something real about me. I remember this time when I was doing more than what I was paid for. I was dang near doing my boss's job. And it wasn't that I was being taken advantage of, even though I thought I was. But it was really because I didn't yet believe I was allowed to expect more. I didn't ask for more. I didn't position myself for more, but I just kept giving. And I told myself it was humility. Looking back, it was just hesitation. A lot of men overgive without boundaries, and it's not because they just want to, but it's because they were taught that's how you're dependable. They were taught to be dependable, but not to be strategic. Than the man who over time actually carries that sends a message, and it's a message that you never intended to send. That message is that my value is flexible. Eventually, resentment comes. And here's how silent resentment shows up. You're more irritable at home. You're less patient. You're less present. At work, you disengage. You do what's required and nothing more. And most men, they usually don't say, I'm underpaid. They say things like, I'm just tired. But exhaustion, it's often misaligned effort. It's not a lack of strength. This video, it's not about making you become more aggressive. It's about helping you to become more clear. Here's the shift that has to happen. You want to be loyal, but you got to be strategic. Loyalty without direction is going to cost you. You need to learn how to translate your value. Stop listing tasks and start communicating outcomes. You got to tie the effort to the results. What changed because you were there? You need to raise your internal standards and do this first. You got to do that first. Ask yourself this honestly. Would I pay more for what I bring? Finally, you got to address misalignment early, because resentment ignored, it just becomes withdrawal. But clarity, it actually prevents that. If this felt personal, good, because it is. It's definitely personal. Your hard work, it matters. Your integrity, it matters, and your loyalty matters. But alignment, it matters also. You don't honor your family by staying underpaid. You don't honor yourself by staying silent. And you don't grow by hoping someone else fixes it. If this video gave you language, and it gave language to something that you've been carrying for a long time, and you want help thinking clearly about your specific situation, I offer this one-on-one clarity call. And I always say this, it's not pressure and it's not hype. It's just space to get grounded. It's space to help you to see your value accurately and to decide your next move with confidence. The link is there in the description below if you need it. In the next video, I'll tell you, we're talking about hardworking men, and we're talking about how we increase their income without becoming someone they're not. Because money, it matters. So does who you become in the process. That being said, later.